Hello YouTube and YouTube viewers, it is Cody Williams again, and this is the Balloon Artist Q&A, where you ask a balloon artist a question. In the beginning of the video, we're going to put a list of the 5 questions I'm answering today, and in the corner somewhere, we're going to have a number of which question we're on, so you can fast forward through what you just don't care. So, question number 1 is by Jeffrey Davis. Hey Cody, in your balloon storage video, you mentioned using a cooler to hold your balloon stock in. Do you do this to keep your balloons cool? I live in Austin, Texas. It can be brutally hot, so I'm assuming there is a benefit to keeping your balloons cool. So when it comes to my cooler, I have an orange, I'm not sure how many gallon, but it's the perfect size for my apron or my busking bag. Doesn't fit both. And I have this because it's a decent size, I can carry it around, and I don't keep my balloons in this all of the time. I think you might be referring to, oh yeah, the storage video. In the storage video, I might not have really gone into why that cooler is there or when I use it, the times that I use it. But that cooler is actually for during long events, say, or anytime that I'm out and about for my gig and I'm gonna be somewhere where I can't keep my balloons in a cool, dry place. I only use the cooler for fair events, or a good example is when I am doing a restaurant and then a party and then a restaurant, and I use busking bag for parties, aprons for restaurants. And so while I'm inside doing the restaurant, I'll have my busking bag in my cooler. That way they don't get ruined in my car. And if I'm doing an event outdoors where I'm outside all day, I'll be unicycling and juggling and then come back to doing the balloons, I keep them in the ice chest so they don't dry out. So when the balloons are exposed to sunlight or heat, they get thinner, they dry out, and your balloons get ruined basically. And this is something that's gonna be answered in another question. It's very, very similar, but I did keep it separate this time. So the cooler is for storing my balloons on the go. And what I typically do is I just take a frozen water bottle, I keep it in the cooler, and that way also I have something to drink if it starts to melt. So the cooler is for events abroad, not for day-to-day storage. Wouldn't hurt, but typically your house stays, you know, room temperature or cooler. So usually your AC will do that for you. All right, so question number 2. Guy Steele. I always love seeing that name come up. Guy Steele. Superman, his best buddy, Guy Steele. All right, thanks Cody man. It's funny. Good stuff. Brought conviction. Here's a question I have had. I live in Washington State and have an 8% state sales tax. So I paid the IRS their money after I differentiated my statements so that my income statement had 2 columns for profit, one side for product, the other was services. The service tax rate was much less in comparison to the retail rate because a balloon is a product. How do you reconcile this? I understand California is different. I live in Arizona now. Nonetheless, taxes are still due. How do you categorize your tax filing? There has to be a way to pay less than 8% of all my earnings. It sounds like you might know more than me on this. So what I do, because Balloon Artist Q&A is not about the right answers, it's about what I do. So I really keep it pretty simple. Everything I've made through performing art or through balloon arts, I get my 1099s and things that I can show a tangible income. I claim them, and then my write-offs are just my balloon costs, balloon jams, travel, etc. Anything that's balloon or entertaining related, I keep notes and write them off on my taxes. So at the end of the year, my profit margin is purely just what has been paid. And I don't treat it like a product, even though balloons could be, but when I'm working events and when I'm working restaurants and birthday parties and stuff, they're not paying me for balloon, they're paying for my entertaining art form. And balloons is my medium to perform with, which is also something that gets around, you know, patents of characters. I don't know if I answered that before or not, but when it comes to making patented designs, you really can't make them if you're selling them. But if you're doing a show or some kind of piece and you end up making a balloon animal of like a Mickey Mouse or something, and the balloon you're not charging for, it's just part of your pattern, it's a little bit different, they can't really come after you, to my understanding. But so I pretty much just don't treat it like a sales product, like retail. That's an interesting thought though. It might actually be cheaper than doing it as an income. I treat it as an income. Is what I do. And I just write off what gets claimed. Anything I can show and like, hey, this is what I made, I just write that down and put it in my, you know, I give them the 1099s, and then I just write off everything else. And I just keep it as simple as possible because taxes and me, we don't get along. It's so confusing. So you might actually know more than me, that's what I do. I treat it just like income, not so much product, just for my paid for performance. So question number 3, Lynn Keller. Hi Cody, great session. My question is, the area you live in my question is, the area you live in does not have jams and conventions. Oh, I guess if the area you live in doesn't have jams and conventions, explicit, shoot. My area, there is nothing in Ontario. They do, but not in my city. So how does one get going? Cheers. So, Lynn, I think what you're trying to say is that there's no jams in your area and you want some to happen. There's some, I guess, a little bit further away, but not quite really local to you. And this is something that I do have to face a lot because I live in Prescott, Arizona. And there's like 2 artists out here, maybe? So there's not much going on. So there's more in Flagstaff and there's a lot in Phoenix. So I end up just going to Phoenix and I write off my jams on my taxes, like I mentioned in the question up one. And I do make my own jams. I'm pretty competent at teaching at a jam because I'm very used to that environment, kind of like doing right now. So I will host jams, I invite people I work with, and I have a really tight network of friends who really do balloons and people that I work with, and so I invite them to come over and we just have jam and we hang out. I try to do it once a month. I'm not always that good at it, but your best bet is to go to groups on Facebook, ask around what jams are in your areas. You'll typically drive like an hour and a half or so to get to a jam in most cases because balloon artists, we're kind of spread out. We don't feel that way because of all of our online communities. We all feel like we live down the street from each other, but a lot of us are good friends. We live 3 states away. So just find out what's local to you if you can. If not, start your own. And if you start your own long enough, people will start driving to yours. Start offering contests and jams. I don't know if I can add a link or anything, but my friend Kyle Fryman, I can't tag him, this isn't Facebook, but he started, I don't know if he started, but he started the Sacramento person's balloon jam for family entertainers, and now it started off as a little thing and he started inviting more people, and now it's a pretty big jam and they have competitions and prizes. Like I remember a couple months ago I donated some DVDs to it so they could have those few prizes. So yeah, if you can't find any, make them, invite them, run it, try to get off the ground. Otherwise you gotta drive a lot and go to conventions. BlueKnifeAnimals.com has a forum for conventions. Facebook has ruined forums, so you have to find groups and ask around. It's a lot tougher than it used to be. I found internet now is harder to navigate for those things than 10 years ago. But there's more of us. Question number 4 is by TJ Temple again. I've answered 1 or 2 of his, I think. Thought of another simple question. How do you do when doing line work and a child pops their balloon? Do they get to cut? If not, how do you tell them no? So it depends. This is really, you gotta play this one a lot by ear. If a child destroys their balloon and it's popped and it's non-repairable, yes, they go back to the end of the line. Unless they walked away and they dropped it on the grass, starting to cry, something like that, sure, you just like, oh, come here, let's fix it, or make a new one real fast as you can. It's really a gray area. It's really tough to please everyone. This, again, comes down to be professional, be polite. Kindness goes a lot further than anything else in the world. So if a kid pops a foot of his Spider-Man, took you 5 minutes to make it, that foot's gonna take you 10 seconds, just time out, pause, all right, I'm gonna fix it real quick, guys. And he doesn't cut, he just goes right to the front and I'll just fix it real quick because certain things are fast to fix. Most balloon repairs happen within 30 seconds. And most people in line don't really complain. And I make a joke always of like, whenever a balloon pops, I yell medic. It's just something come by second nature now. I say I'm a licensed latex surgeon. License is in Mexico, but it's legit. And they laugh a little bit. Or I'll say, oh, don't worry, I have AAA and fix a flat. So I do little jokes and repair it, and as long as I'm engaging with the line while I'm repairing the balloon, they don't seem to mind. Now, if he pops the balloon on purpose, he doesn't even get a new one, period. I want this. Make me a dog. Bye. Don't care. I do work event once every month or every other month that is a very high income area, and the kids are not good. They're very, very entitled and obnoxious, and they will do that, and I have to do that occasionally to them. It's not fun. But so anyways, I do let them cut for a repair. If it's something that if it's totaled, they got to go through line again. That's typically what I do. And one of the things is professionally saying no is something it takes time to get good at, but I do tell kids no to those things, especially if it's on purpose. But in a nutshell, quick fixes, come in the front. If I gotta do a big repair, go to the back. That's it. And if they say, well, I already had one, I already waited in line, I've even used the cliche line, better to have loved than lost and never to have loved at all. Parents sometimes get a kick out of it, but it's like, okay, well, you got one. You got to enjoy that. They've also waited in line and they haven't gotten to enjoy it yet. So, but if the balloon pops, not their fault. There's lots of gray areas, but try to be professional about it, and that's my go-to. Easier repair come up, harder repair go to the back. All right, that was longer than I thought it was going to be an answer. Question number 5. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Every so often, my balloons turn cloudy after blowing them up. What might be the cause of this? Old balloons? Not storing them correctly? Any thoughts? Thanks, Cody. Love your DVDs. By the way, unicotina9.com. DVDs. All right, so yeah, that's definitely a storage issue or even just an age issue. Balloons do expire, they do go bad. I mean, I can't think of anything to do to make them not, other than airtight bags and coolers maybe if you want to do it all the time, but I don't know. But I don't even know if that would actually work. But when it comes to cloudy, check the date on your balloon bags. There's a, man, I forgot exactly how to read it, but there's a way of telling the dates on it. Sometimes they're just really old. If you can't figure out how to read it, comment, Jan, and I will find I know I've seen pictures of people circling where to tell you, I'll find a link to it if I can't. So that's yeah, age. Cloudy's typically they're oxidized, if that's the case, and that's very much either also a storage thing. So if your balloons are new and they're doing that, again, watch my storage video. I'll put a link to it again if I remember. If not, TJ will remind me again. But storing is important. Swamp coolers are a balloon artist's natural enemy. You want them to stay in a cool, dry place. That's how to store your balloons. Cool, dry place, out of the sunlight. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's all the advice I can give on that. So that is Balloon Artist Q&A, episode 5, I believe. Stay tuned for more for the next episode. You guys have a great day today, a better tomorrow. God bless you guys. Have fun. Any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get to them in the next video. Take care, guys.